let's go. So, welcome to Politically Homeless, where we will be examining all of the BS that our current, probably, um, most likely simulation theory. We're just living in a video game because this timeline can't be real, can it? This insanity can't really be what's going on. So let's get into it. My last video was on the collapse of San Francisco and basically all of California as a whole, with the closure of the uh, flagship store in Market Street, Nordstrom's department store, closing down 300,000 square feet of retail space. They called 911 over 500 times last year. That's basically almost two a day. A police presence didn't matter. Yeah, they have police, like at the Whole Foods that's closed down, at the Anthropology, all these stuff. It doesn't matter. When when your government refuses to prosecute property crime, that will invoke a level of lawlessness and anarchy that no business will stick around with any kind of longevity. They're out. You can't keep our employees safe. You can't keep our products safe. Why would we do business in your state, city, et cetera, et cetera? Let me give you the perspective of the business. We won't. We're leaving. F yourself. F your board of supervisors. F your city council. F your mayor. We're out. So, yeah, California's collapsing. This has been a long time coming. We've had decades now of pretty much absolute democratic rule because they are the supermajority in the state, and they have done an excellent job flushing everything that made this state great right down the toilet. It has become a giant get woke, go broke symposium where, in order to virtue signal and to pander to a voting base, they have destroyed the state. So let's get into more of that, because right here we have from the AP, Associated Press, California governor likely to announce bigger budget deficit than the $22.5 billion announced in January. Well, let's read between the lines, and what does this mean? Well, basically, the state is broke. Why is it broke? Well, I can tell you exactly what's going on. You see, the vast majority of taxable income that California generates, which is the most populated and largest economy state in the country by far, is from personal income tax. Okay, so 60-70% of the state tax revenue comes from rich people's incomes. Okay, well, the last few years, first time in California history, thousands upon thousands of Californians have been voting with their feet and leaving the state. Why is that? Well, they've had enough of this crap. And they're going to places that are far more beneficial tax-wise. Good weather isn't going to keep you there only so much, Okay, yeah, the weather's great, and it's a really nice place to, or it was a really nice place to live. Many of those things are gone now. Rampant, exploding crime. They don't prosecute the criminals. They just keep letting them go. Inability to defend yourself. Like, if you go ahead and defend yourself against these criminals, they're going to come after you. All the woke crap, the CRT, the pushing racism on kids, trying to make white kids feel guilty, pretending like black people are inferior and need the help of the system in order to succeed or do anything in their life. They're perpetual victims. Um, the pushing of the gay agenda, this transgenderism horse shit, where they are pushing mutilating and castrating and sterilizing children. Um, Geez, where should I keep going? Oh, insane energy costs just for your utilities, to the gas you put in your car every day is insanely high. And you think, oh, I'm going to get an electric car. Oh, no, no, no. That still comes from fossil fuels, which, yeah, we can get into the whole the green scam, which is exactly what it is. But to power your electric car that you think you're so virtuous and helping the environment, that comes from fossil fuels, you idiot. And and because California is so dysfunctional and a broken state, they have made any energy astronomically expensive. Even though California as a state is some of the most rich in resources in the entire country. Literally, gas should be $1 a gallon in California, no joke. But instead, it's $5-6 a gallon. Well, why is that? Well, greedy, corrupt POSs. That's why. So, anyways, the state's broke. Gavin Newsom is going to have to come to Jesus here, and it turns out, just 22.5 billion in the hole. And they go on in this article to state just everything that I've already told you. Um, California is one of the only states to have a shortfall this year because most states aren't as dysfunctionally run and incompetent as California is. Progressive tax code relies on wealthy taxpayers, just what I told you, and their income is closely tied to the stock market. Well, guess what has done absolute dog shit since a dementia-ridden human potato got into office? The stock market. Yeah. Basically, from, well, 2020, Trump was still there, so it was still good. 2021 was kind of like coming out of the ether. And then 22 and 23 have been absolutely catastrophically abysmal for if you're in the stock market. And they're just talking about how he's going to have a real tough time negotiating with Democratic legislatures who can't possibly have to cut services or tell their constituents anything negative because they're used to just throwing money at all of them constantly and telling them what they want to hear. And that's how they got into office in the first place, because people in California live in fantasy land. They believe in fairies and unicorns and marshmallow waterfalls where everybody is equal and a bunch of other made up crap. So the reality is the state is broke and they're going to have to cut a hell of a lot of SHIT to balance the budget. Well, I will just tell you right now, sorry, black people, you can kiss your $1.2 million reparations payment goodbye because the state is broke. There's no money for essential things, so there's definitely not leftover money to give to you who were never a slave, probably have no ancestors that were slaves. And, oh, that's right, California was never a slave state. If anybody has an argument for reparations in California, let me give you a news flash. That would be the Asians. Chinese Americans that built the railroad, and Japanese during World War II, who were put into internment camps. All Asians were, in fact, not allowed to own or buy property in California until I think it was the 1950s. So if anybody has an argument for reparations, it would be the Harold Prees Asians. Not you. Sorry, not sorry. So, you know, basically these boards and the virtue signal crybabies that like to come out and they've the administrative state, the bureaucracy that they basically given all these people six-figure salaries. They have zero value to society. They do absolutely nothing, and they've been put into these groups to come up with ideas of how to make things better. And their ideas are, let's just give every black person a $1.2 million. Yeah, That's never going to happen. Dumbest thing I've ever freaking heard in my life. But yeah, go ahead. Keep pushing it. See what happens. My God. So, yeah, reparations in the toilet. Gavin Newsom's going to have a real tough time. This will probably damage his bid for the presidency because he's going to have to somehow figure out a way to come up with $25 billion and still pretend like everything's great in the state. No, the fact is California is collapsing. The wealthy, the people that pay the majority of the taxes, they've been leaving the state faster than they can count. There's been an exodus the last few years where thousands upon thousands of people have been leaving California for greener pastures in Texas, in Florida, in Montana, in anywhere else, places that have much better taxes. And they're not looking back. They're not coming back. California is no longer the desired destination for the world over. People, when I was growing up, you just, we'd go to Michigan to visit my mom and her family, my mom's family. And the neighbors would be like, "Oh, you're from California. How many movie stars do you know? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh." They just, there was this perception that California was golden and that anybody who was anybody was from California. That is no longer the case. People, the jig is up. Not only do you have all the tech companies that were basically keeping this uh, BS cruise ship afloat, your Google, your Facebook, your Apple, all these places have been laying off thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people, which can further erodes their tax base. That bubble has popped. Okay. And there's no reason for anybody to do any kind of business in California anymore. It's too expensive. There's endless regulation, red tape, and chicanery that goes on if you want to have any kind of business in California. So people have left. There's no longer, California used to be the destination for artists, entrepreneurs, innovators. No longer. This just isn't happening. They're going to Austin, Texas. They're going to Miami, Florida. They're not coming here. So California is completely screwed, and I will be laughing my ass off as this whole thing comes crashing down in a burning heap of poop on fire. Let's talk about a couple other things. Scott Baio, Charles in charge, baby. So, if you're older like me, you grew up watching great television that was back when television was worth crap, and you might remember a show called Charles in Charge. Well, there's a guy named Scott Baio. He was Charles, and he's leaving California due to the homeless crisis and crime. What do you know? Oh, yeah, he was also Chachi on Happy Days. Joni loves Chachi. Um, yep. May 30 came out and said, "Look, I'm out of this MFer. It's just not a safe place anymore." Critics, so who cares about critics? Let's see. Sold his almost $4 million home last month. Matthew McConaughey's gone. Mark Wahlberg, Joe Rogan. Yeah, anyone with a brain has gotten the heck out. And that's just the way it is. California's collapsing. And what does that mean for the rest of the nation? I don't know. It'll be interesting. The homelessness, the drug addicts, the way that they soft on crime and refuse to prosecute property crime will destroy the state. We are watching it happen. We are literally watching California collapse before our eyes. I hope everyone is aware of that. Yep. Hopefully you like my shirt. It's George Washington, too cool for tyrannical rule. You can get this on WeThePeopleHolsters.com if you want based red pill shirts like I like to wear. And then the only other story, so yeah, Scott Baio's out. Just some more proof to what I'm telling you is true. This is really sad. A trembling, confused Diane Feinstein asked, "Where am I going?" as she's rolled back to work as a U.S. Senator. So the Democrats, they have no morals. They have no ethics. I'm not saying the Republicans do either. I think I hate both parties pretty equally, although it is the radical left that gets the majority of my ire these days because of the stuff that they're pushing with their neo-Maoism, neo-Marxism, trying to indoctrinate children, trying to mutilate, sterilize, and castrate children, um, pushing all this race ideology, that pushing insane racism, trying to bring back segregation, all this other just gross, disgusting stuff. The way they attack the First and Second Amendment. I'm a constitutionalist, tried and true all the way through. Um, don't touch my First and Second unless you want the wolf. But this is really sad. So she is basically a corpse in a wheelchair, and they are making her come back so that they can push through some judges, some worthless crap. This poor old lady. She should be on permanent vacation somewhere, with a blanket on her, watching the sunset and enjoying whatever little time she has left on this planet. But instead, she is being manipulated by the Democrats to continue to keep going on to their shit show as they flush the rest of our country down the toilet, or attempt to. So, yeah, a lot of good stuff going on. Hopefully, you enjoy my content. Today was definitely a lot more energetic than my last video. I'll go ahead and post this on YouTube and Rumble. Um, yeah, stay tuned. We're going to have a lot of good commentary coming up because I don't know if you're aware, but we got a presidential election coming up soon, and Donald Trump absolutely destroyed the libtards on CNN yesterday in the town hall that he gave, and I'm going to do my next video on that subject. So stay tuned. Take care of yourself, stay strapped, and do what you need to do. Peace out.